All right. Hey, everybody. All right. Tick-tack, tick-tock, next block. So many of you have probably heard this phrase before. In fact, I know all of you have because Bart just said it in the previous presentation. So this started as the close to a tweet that I made on the occasion of Bitcoin's 600,000th block back in 2019. And over time, it became adopted by Bitcoiners as a meme to describe Bitcoin as an unstoppable force and to give a nod to its temporal nature. But there's more to this meme than it may seem. Every civilization has devised ways to capture time. We've built monuments to mark its passing, machines to measure it, and myths to explain it. From shadow to pendulum, from quartz to atoms, these innovations didn't just change how we keep time, they defined civilizations. To see how time shapes us now, let's return to when measuring the heavens became a way to manage the earth. The story of how humanity learned to keep time and how time in turn began to keep us. In Egypt, priests watched for the helical rise of Sirius just before dawn. It was the signal that the Nile's flood was near. Calendars fixed planting, taxes, and festivals to that star's return, turning skywatching into administration. Obelisks, shadow clocks, and nilometers tied heaven to river, ritual to routine. In Babylon, made time countable. Their base 60 way of counting gave us 24 hours, 60 minutes, and 60 seconds. Sundials and water clocks met tablets and contracts. Hours specified labor and deliveries and debts. Astronomer scribes kept logs and predictions, turning observation into schedules and obligations. Time entered the ledger, measured, divisible, enforceable. Monastic life ran on the rule book and the bell. Set times brought prayer, meals, and work into order. Early mechanical clocks, weights, and gears rang the hours. It marked the shift from nature's changing day to a mechanical, steady beat, a community kept in sync by sound while timekeeping organized daily life. And then navigation demanded a clock that could travel. The marine chronometer let ships hold a course across oceans. Greenwich gave a common reference for maps and schedules. In port, a new ritual appeared, the time ball, a great sphere hoisted high each day and dropped at the exact moment so that captains could set their chronometers by sight. In North America, towns once kept their own noons, setting their clocks by the sun's highest point in the sky. And this system resulted in a patchwork of over 144 different times, making coordinated travel and commerce nearly impossible. The advent of trains, which couldn't run safely or effectively with dozens of different times, forced a move to a standard time zone. The telegraph turned time into a signal, an electrical tick from the observatory's master clock, and wires carried noon across distance, so train stations synced to a shared beat, the start of truly networked time. Now this synchronization drove the entire modern world, as factory whistles carved days into shifts, punch clocks tracked minutes, and broadcast schedules taught nations to gather at once. Today, atomic clocks drive precision to the nanosecond, with GPS satellites and network time keeping phones, servers, and global commerce in perfect alignment. As historian Lewis Mumford noted, the clock, not the steam engine, was the key machine of modern civilization. New clocks don't just tell time, they fundamentally reorganize work, coordination, and the entire tempo of civilizations. Every leap in timekeeping has changed how we live. But today, for the first time, we have three fundamentally different clocks running our civilization. Natural time, the rhythm of earth and sky, the oldest clock written into the world itself, reflected in sundials and calendars. Slow, cyclical, patient, the tempo of seasons and tides. Machine time, the rhythm of industry and computation. This emerged centuries ago and is measured by chronometers and atomic clocks, the whole range. The tempo is precise, but it accelerates with advancements in technology. The tempo of factories all the way to networks. And these two clocks have guided the modern world, one grounding us in nature, the other driving progress. Less than 2 decades ago, a curious new clock appeared. A clock that bridges nature and machine. Bitcoin time, a digital pulse secured by the fundamental laws of nature through proof of work. A sundial in cyberspace, approximate but incorruptible. Natural time keeps us human, machine time drives us forward, and Bitcoin time bridges the two. Together, these three clocks define our new temporal landscape, which in turn will shape how our civilization unfolds. For decades, the accelerating pulse of machine time has been the engine of fiat money system. Our entire global financial order, a system of instant, untethered digital creation, runs on machine time. They're a close philosophical match. A money system that must accelerate to survive, fused with a clock, a tempo that cannot stop accelerating. And why are they such an unstable combination? Because fiat money is untethered, it can be created from nothing, and machine time is fast. Its tempo enables this untethered monetary system to operate at a speed that is growing more and more disconnected with our natural time. And this unstable combination of fiat money and machine time introduces a deep source of quiet coercion as it actively erodes and overrides our slow-rooted human-scale time. So let's understand the lived reality of this quiet coercion. It compresses our future into the present. The engine of this compression is that unstable system. Your capital cannot rest. It's always chasing return, just to outpace its own erosion. This financial pressure creates cultural pressure. The business model of our modern information system, the 24-hour news cycle, the endless shorts feed, is attention harvesting for fiat revenue. These companies are on the same treadmill, forced to the same short-term quarterly targets. And machine time is the perfect engine for this chase. The same relentlessly accelerating algorithmic cadence that powers high-frequency trading is now used to harvest human attention. This is the untestable, the unstable feedback loop that has built the temporal rails pushing our civilization towards speed, reaction, and short-termism. When our entire financial and digital system runs on this unstable engine, instant becomes the default expectation. There's a deep psychological shift that affects everyone. It socializes impatience. The slow, steady, difficult work required by natural time, like saving, mastering a skill, building a family, pursuing a long-term project, belongs and starts to feel intolerable. This impatience isn't a personal failing, It's a mass cultural condition. It's the effect of this pervasive, quiet coercion. So this is the present that we find ourselves in the future that we are trying to avoid, a future where that unstable system keeps compressing our future and socializing our impatience and pulling us along on a relentlessly accelerating cadence, that quiet coercion consuming our natural time. This is where the genius of the third clock reveals itself. Bitcoin is not just an alternative money. It's the bridge to a human-scale cadence that persists within machine time. Satoshi had to solve the problems of machine time before he could solve the problems of digital money. In the Bitcoin white paper, Satoshi wrote that we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server. In the original code, he left a comment that describes it in a more poetic and powerful way. He called it the time chain. And this time chain is brilliant. It maintains a immutable sequence of events required to make Bitcoin money work. But here's another moment of genius in the white paper. It's called the difficulty adjustment. Every 2016 blocks, about 2 weeks, the network measures its own speed. The clock is running too fast, the network makes the work harder to slow things down. If it's running too slow, it makes the work easier to speed things up a little bit. It provides a human anchor, a human scale anchor in the digital world, a steady cadence in a space that will only keep accelerating from us. And this is an act of reconciliation. This is the anchor that will allow natural time to coexist with machine time, which is precisely what allows us to reprice time itself. Now, Bitcoin reprices time by anchoring our economic calculations into a stable, provable clock in cyberspace. So in other words, Bitcoin the money. Bitcoin is the perfect fusion of time and money. In contrast to the fiat money and machine time combination, Bitcoin is a stable, temporal, and monetary system. It stretches our horizons by making tomorrow's purchasing power at least as real as today's. That shift doesn't command behavior, it invites it. It changes the incentive structure of our lives. The anxiety of now is replaced by the potential of later because you are anchored to a stable clock. This is the profound personal level change. A society running on the quiet coercion is a society of triage. A society running on Bitcoin is a society of ambition. One that has the stability to coexist with the accelerating pace of machine time. And Bitcoin creates margin. It restores the breathing room that quiet coercion destroys. It gives us a human anchor in the machine world. This is the freedom to reclaim depth, the freedom to choose mastery over metrics, to study something for 5 years without seeing your savings evaporate in the background. The freedom to hold a season for grief, for parenting, for creating without the tax of urgency. It's the power to say not yet. It's to the rush deadline, or to refuse the short-term extraction in favor of long-term craft. The freedom to say no is often just what you need to actually get freedom. The quiet coercion of that unstable system devalues what is slow by nature: childhood, apprenticeship, topsoil, forests. Everything that requires patience are the first things sacrificed in a high time preference economy. Bitcoin flips the gradient. It makes slow things investable again. Bitcoin time protects the slow. It's a shield that guards the space and time for what is truly human to take root, allowing us to nurture our lives at a natural pace. The quiet coercion forces local economies to be extractive, to compete for restless capital that must be paid back now. It starves the commons. Bitcoin time allows capital to sit still, waiting for real, patient return. This makes the slow trust-based structures like commons, cooperatives, and guilds viable again. Suddenly, the 18-year project that changes a town becomes fundable, not just the 18-week version to hit a quarterly budget. This is how a community stops surviving year to year and starts building for the century. The dominant incentive created by the quiet coercion is churn, to replace what could be repaired and chase the quarterly target. Bitcoin incentivizes durable goods, repairability, and long-term reputation to begin to outcompete that churn. Culture thickens. The slow weave of human life, festivals, art, music, story, no longer needs to fit in the cracks left by commerce. Anchored by Bitcoin time, our culture can coexist within machine time, not be consumed by it. Traditions stop bending to retail calendars and start rooting themselves in place and meaning again. Artists can take decades to finish a work. Communities can sustain rituals without sponsorships. And celebrations can once more mark the seasons rather than the shopping cycles. Culture regains density, patience, and memory. And there's a subtler, deeper layer. Conscience requires time. To act ethically, you need a horizon spacious enough to allow you to care. Short horizons breed excusable neglect. Long horizons reawaken duty. Bitcoin won't build utopia, but it removes the quiet coercion that keeps us from even trying. We stand at a unique moment in history. We have a new clock, a clock that bridges machine and natural time, a new clock for a new civilization. Tick tock, next block. Thank you.